Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of Food Exposed. Food Exposed is a series of episodes where we're looking at what's exactly in our food and looking at the transparency of the labels. So today's episode, guys, is going to be rather short and rather sweet, but I must say I did find this a little bit of a shocker. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be looking at olives. In fact, we're going to be looking at black olives. I'm sure you're probably aware that generally if you do go to the supermarket, there are two types of olives you normally find. You find them either the green olives or the black olives. And you'll probably be aware again that the green olives are generally unripe olives that are picked slightly earlier from the tree and then processed into the jar or the tin. And then black olives technically should be left on the tree to ripen and then processed in a slightly different way, generally dry cured or in olive oil. But do you believe me that I can tell you that some or majority of the black olives in the supermarkets that come in the jars like that are actually fake? Well, by fake, I mean they're not actually truly the black olives. They are in fact green olives that are treated via a chemical process to make them jet black, because the manufacturers think that me and you prefer the black olives to be artificially blackened rather than black olives from the tree. So basically, if you see, or if you have a look on the label and you see the ingredient called ferrous gluconate, this is basically a mixture of oxygen and iron salts. This is the process that put the olive to make them that jet black color. This is where generally, if you have ever tried those kind of olives, you probably find that they do have quite a bit of the metallic flavor. This is due to the process. And if you compare and try the original true ripe olive, then they do have slightly meaty and slightly more depth of flavor, and generally they do come slightly bigger in size as well. So one might wonder why on earth, and I wonder why on earth you would color the green olives then just to call it black rather than pick a true black olives. Well, apparently the black olives generally when they do ripen on the tree, they do come in different sizes, and apparently they do come in different shades of black, and in fact not black, but we're talking about some brownish and purple shades. And apparently commercially, first of all, it's not viable because of the time they take to ripen on the tree, and secondly, it's not acceptable for us as a consumer to have a black olives that are slightly different shades of black. So this is why the manufacturers resort of picking the black unripened, green olives and then basically oxidize them via chemical process and make them jet black. To me, I think this is absolutely ridiculous. And again, to some of you, that might not make a difference at all, because in fact, well, what's the difference? They do have, different tastes to the green olives. They're slightly a bit milder. That's the idea. But to me, and again, the reason why I'm doing those Food Exposed is transparency of what's actually in our food without us knowing. So you might then ask the question, well, is that actually legal? They're calling the black olives black. Well, in fact, because this is the case, it is actually legal and it is monitored. So it is definitely a-okay for the manufacturer to call the artificially blackened olive black, because in fact, well, it is a black olive, but providing that they do put the ingredient list or add on the ferrous gluconate as an ingredient. But my point is, for me and you, or an average person, this is not the transparency, because you look at that saying it's a black olive and you look at the list of ingredients, and to you the ferrous gluconate means absolutely nothing. So you would go there, you buy this olive because you were under the assumption that it is a black olive, and then you might like the taste of the artificial black olives, but the fact is they're not true black olives. But as the labels goes and the legislation goes, this is totally legal. So now, if you truly want to buy yourself some true black olives, generally, as I said, guys, they do come in slightly bigger jars. Generally, as I said, they do come either dry cured in or olive oil. And of course, as I mentioned before, they're generally big in size, and the shade of the black olives will be totally different in terms of the variations of the shades. Whether if you look at the average black olive, they are pretty much all the universal color. So there we are, guys. Well, that was a short one, as I have promised you. As I said, to some of you might be not a problem at all, but to me, this is a big deal, because we've been deceived left, right, and center with any foods that we buy. And to me, the problem is, right, if they would call this artificially blackened or oxidized olives, rather than they just call them black olives, this will be a little bit more transparent. But in fact, they don't, and they don't have to. So anyway, guys, well, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget, check out all my other Food Exposed videos. There's specific playlists for that on the channel. Otherwise, please don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It does really, really help the channel grow. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye.